Hello, everyone, and welcome to our session or episode 0. I'm Joanna, your dungeon master and the resident dungeon master here at the Roost, and we're going to be beginning our campaign of Tyranny of Dragons. This will be a how-to campaign. So if you watched our previous episodes on how to prep a campaign and how to build a character, we're going to be breaking down the campaign as we go to show how we play it, almost like a little peek behind the screen, if you will, to kind of help new players get a feel for the game. So this is session 0, and there's not going to be actual gameplay for this, but we're going to talk about our characters, who they are, the overall view of the campaign, and um, just kind of the ins and outs of the campaigns, make sure that we establish any lines that we don't want to cross. And there may be some people may consider it spoilers to what the campaign is actually about. So if you want to go into the story knowing absolutely nothing, I suggest you come back in 2 weeks when we drop episode 1, because we will be establishing starting points, connections, and all that other stuff. So, final warning for spoilers. Okay, great. Now we're going to continue. Anyways, I'm Joanna. I'm your dungeon master, and I have some awesome guys joining me tonight. We are going to go ahead and meet them right now, starting with the one, the only Miles. Miles,
Have I been muted this entire time?
you sure have.
I'm a singularity. I'm what's it called? A fixed event. There can only be one of me. But hello, all you curious combinations of creatures. I am the Reaper, aka the Mighty Yama. Some may know me as the High Fiend or Chief Stormcloud. And I will be trying my best to be Vronin Snapfuse, known barbarian.
And can you give us a little bit? What does Vronin look like? What's his physical appearance look like?
So Ronin is gnomishly short, average height. He's a little slim, but he's got a bit of muscle from working as a craftsman's apprentice in an artificery. He's brown skinned from all the fire and work. Well, he's pretty brown skinned already. He's got curly black hair that comes up in a wild kind of like almost fro. He is bespectacled, with little short ears, and I picture him with kind of long sideburns, but no facial hair. He does himself up. Not necessarily, it kind of like business-y, like, very like a button up and a vest and whatever accoutrements we'll be using in that setting. But yeah, not no armor and
Okay.
yeah.
And then we're gonna go over next to him. It's John.
Hello, once again, everyone. It's everyone's favorite, or at least in my mind, I like to be everyone's favorite, John. As I am coming to the table tonight as my Dragonborn fighter, Talon Harbinger.
Okay, and what does Talon look like?
Basically, he's just like this red Dragonborn. Kind of wears kind of like the best way I can describe it is if you've ever seen like one of the old Clint Eastwood movies, like
Yeah.
Fistful of Dollars, and the good, the bad, the ugly, like the man with no name. Got like the poncho, the hat, that kind of thing.
Love it.
I knew you would do that.
All right. And then we're gonna jump down over to Jackson.
Hello, everyone. Ooh, voice crack. First way to start it off. All right.
Welcome to the
Uh,
new game.
I know. My name is Jackson. I'll be playing Varek Jowl, a half-orc wizard. Um, he's green skinned. He's probably like the equivalent of someone in their, like a human in their late 20s, early 30s. Green skin, green eyes. He has um like shaved sides and back, pretty much just a flop of hair on top that has streaks of gray, um, and it's typically tied in like a bun in the back, pointed ears that are pierced with studs, has a pair of spectacles that are like half rimmed, and he has septum pierced, and he always is seen wearing a turtleneck, or a turtleneck-like uh shirt, I guess, and an overcoat. And yeah.
Okay. And next to him, we've got Austin.
Hello, my name is Austin. I will be playing Kai, a female elf cleric. She is 112, also weighs 112. She worships Timora, the goddess of good fortune. She has a streak of azure blue going through her raven black hair. Her eyes are dark purple with a small kind of star-like almost pupil.
Okay. And last but certainly not least, we have David.
Hello, everyone. I'm David, and I'll be playing the Tiefling Ranger Viken Kasholt. More or less on the average side for a Tiefling, dark red skin with twisting brown-black horns protruding from a mop of rather unkempt chin-length black hair. Standing just a little over average, about 6 foot, usually seen in some piecemeal studded leather armor with some chainmail mixed in, maybe a plate pauldron here or there. More or less just pretty mixed in with the crowd from Baldur's Gate, which is where he's from. Trying to think what this was. Beyond that, he has a broken horn on the left side of his head, as well as some scars from an encounter with a bear that seen him settling in Greenest shortly after.
All right. Well, welcome all of you to the Roost. Just to give everybody a little bit of a background of the Roost. So, if you don't know already, Miles and I, we are actually married, and we started playing D&D together as kind of a way to just get back onto like fun friend husband and wife terms after our daughter was born. And D&D is one of those games where it lets you get some tension out, stress out. So it was a way of him and I just reconnecting and refinding our friendship. So we're happy that it has led us to starting this stream and building new friendships along the way. And we're very happy to have all of you here. And for all the viewers out there, we're very happy to have all of you viewing with us. So let's go ahead and get into a little bit of what Tyranny of Dragons is going to be all about. So this is actually a combination of two different campaigns. You'll have the Horde of the Dragon Queen and then Rise of Tiamat. And ultimately, characters are going to go level 1 to 8 in the first half, and then 8 to 15 in the second half. And it is a major battle that is going to take up and span all throughout Faerun. And because of this, it is going to be part of the Roost Faerun Chronicles. If you have watched our Heroes of the Borderlands campaign, which are all now streaming on YouTube and working on getting them up to Spotify and Amazon podcasts, but if you have watched those, listened to those, this campaign takes place directly after Heroes of the Borderland ends. And if you're watching our Icewind Dale campaign, it's happening alongside of the events of Icewind Dale. for that reason, you may see some characters from those campaigns cross over. We're also going to be using this campaign to set up 3 other campaigns. So we're going to be sticking to the module as close as we can, since we are trying to show you how to run it or how we run it. But because we are linking it with other campaigns and we want to make sure that each character is telling their backstory appropriately, it could very well, we will change it. But I'll be running how-to videos all throughout this campaign, and no players will be allowed in those videos, since spoilers will be given, and I will let you know ahead of time if we're going to be changing something drastic. But there are a couple things elements that will be in and out of the campaign, starting with campaign allies. You have the Harpers, the Order of the Gauntlet, the Emerald Enclave, the Lord's Alliance, and I'm going to butcher this name, the Xantarum. Anybody know what I'm talking about? Got a different?
Yeah,
No, that's pretty accurate.
The Zentarum, yeah.
Okay, great.
I thought you were saying.
You got it very close.
All right.
I say Zentarum, right?
I also say Zentarum.
Sounds so more pretentious like that.
Like I
Maybe
am
you should learn some
definitely.
proper common.
It's like I am highly dyslexic, so you might also, for viewers, if you have run this campaign, if you hear me change a NPC that's in the book, more than likely I could not pronounce the name, so I changed the.
No. It's just an Elvish. Don't worry.
Oh yeah. So those are the campaign allies, and some of our players may have connections to them. We are players when we get to going into your background and stuff like that. If you have a connection to an ally or a villain, don't say it. So I know it, you know it. It will come out later on in the game, but some of our players may have connections to those allies. And some might want to join them along the way, but they will play major roles throughout this campaign. Speaking of villains, we also have campaign villains. So you will see the main big bad is obviously Cult of the Dragons, which is not a secret if you watched our Heroes of the Borderland campaign. If you didn't watch our Heroes of the Borderland campaign, it's literally the cover of the book. So Cult of the Dragon is a big villain. Red Wizards of Thay, the Host of the Nine Hells, Chromatic Dragons, and Giants. And the reason that I, as the DM, like to inform my players of these things is so that they know if they want to have connections to them, they can put them into their backstory. A really good thing if you are DMing your game is using your characters' backstories to gain some NPCs. Like, maybe they see a lost lover from the past, and now that lover's part of the Cult of the Dragons, and that's a problem. Like, use their backstories to help tell the story. That's how things are fun. But let's go ahead and get ourselves into the actual starting point of the campaign. So this book is 17 chapters long, and pretty much each chapter has different starting points and different ending points. So getting into chapter 1, there were 3 different starting points. We're using the starting point of everybody is a resident of the town of Greenest, which is it's not a super small town, but it's also not really big, but it's a farming town. And it's in the lower part of Faerun, kind of close to the Sword Coast, but not super. So I have told my players that they have lived in Greenest either their whole life or they've come there for specific reasons, but they've all been there for a considerable amount of time, to the point where they all know each other somewhat in passing. They at least know of each other's names because it's that type of town. Everybody knows your name. Um, and we're gonna get in now to uh everybody's reason for being in Greenest. Again, if you're there because of one of the villains or allies, don't say, just just give us a vague reason of why you are in Greenest, or at least how long you've been there and what your current occupation would be. What do you mainly do in the town of Greenest? And we're going to start with Miles. Tell us a bit about Vronin.
Ronan, I picture being a total native of Greenest, like born and raised. His I see his father being estranged, but not necessarily absent. Probably doesn't have the greatest relationship with him. His mom, I could see being very overbearing, so he tries to distance himself, but he can't help but have to reconnect with her constantly. Um, I don't know. Well, I mean, I know we were going for like a Victorian era setting, but
Yeah, we're going for Vic Victorian steampunk-esque.
esque, right? So,
S. Still have that level of high fantasy, but yeah.
well, with this the advent of the gunfire, the firearms and the gunpowder, I was hoping to like have him like make attempts at starting up the town's first like artificery.
Okay.
Um, uh, what else? Like so, um, uh, he would be not really a prominent member, not necessarily in like any sort of like sense of people notice him, but he would be working kind of behind the scenes, very studious, very like into his work, trying desperately to make his mark on his town and try to improve the life of his town. He's very attached to his town. And while he hopes to see the world one day, he eventually sees himself coming back and probably settling down, probably just continuing his work as he does. He's very socially awkward.
So he's not a natural adventurer.
No, most of his adventures he's been either by him being too like gullible, not necessarily in like he in being somewhat trusting and very so too logically minded to the point where he'll not get the nuance of things, and so he'll end up in scenarios like, wait, I didn't know I was going to be here.
Okay.
Um, and I find I don't know if we are talking about any sort of NPCs that we know, but I find I've
Not quite yet. We'll get there in a
yeah.
second. Um, oh right. Anything else about his upbringing? What's your designated background? Like what background did
My
you choose?
designated background is that of a guild artisan or guild merchant, being one of the apprentices to the first artificery. He would have joined, like, I guess, an engineer's guild or a mechanist guild or whatever we're calling it, and probably been one of the first to join, and probably would have done a lot of free work for them, just trying to get it set up and off the ground. But very much like a guildie, like I'm gonna work for the guild and I'm gonna get up into the top and then I'm gonna change the world.
All right. Anything else you would like to tell us about Vronin right
Uh,
now?
I feel like people are gonna be confused as initially why he's picked as a barbarian, but I want to tap into the nerd rage aspect of him.
Sure, we can all identify there.
And that is why I settled on barbarian.
I love it.
So I'm looking forward to try to utilize that. And I find that he has not like OCD, but he has he's got his things. And if you don't do his things, or if you interrupt his things, he can get his fuse can snap, as his name so implies.
Okay. All right. John, why don't you go ahead? How long has Talon lived in Greenest, and just give us some little info about what does he do in the town of Greenest?
I wouldn't say he's lived there long. I wouldn't say he's lived there like all his life or anything, but he's lived there long enough to like get himself settled. Um, Mostly he'd be there to like solve like people problems, or maybe like just be like a bounty hunter type of role. Like he because his personality, he's just always polite, he's respectful, he always tries to do things for like the greater good, regardless of what that may be or anything. And he always tries to like go out of his way to like help others in his own way.
Okay, and then what is his background?
Soldier, military rank. He was born from like a proud clan of like Dragonborn warriors, where they have like this deep sense of duty and honor, and his mind, he was born to be a soldier in like the type of mind that he was like kind of molded into. Um, but something happened that kind of changes his aspect on it, and he's still proud that he was able to serve, but at the same time he's holding like some secrets about what happened to him in his military lifestyle.
Okay. All right. Are his so he were we could probably say that he probably works at the keep. Would
That's
you
what,
say?
yeah. I would say like working like works at the keep, or maybe he's like waiting for like his next job at the keep, possibly. But if it's better to say he works at the keep, then that's fine.
Yeah. So there is Lord what was this dude's name? Governor Nighthill. Um he's kind of like he's the one governor of the town. We can probably say that you work for him.
Mm-hmm.
Um there's not necessarily a militia in the town. Um they mainly work on like a volunteer service, so we can definitely say that you're yeah, Governor Nighthill. We can definitely say that he works more so on like a volunteer basis for Governor Nighthill. Um maybe even him and the governor were friends a while, and governor like brought you into the town to
Mm-hmm.
help out.
Mm-hmm.
Does that sound good?
Yeah, that sounds good with me. Yeah, yeah. I'm just making notes here.
Yeah, same. Yes, point of note for all players out there listening and DMs listening, take notes. This is definitely a take note game. Unless your character doesn't like to take notes, in which case, good luck.
Haven't died yet.
This is true. All right, let's go ahead. John, is there anything else that you wanted to tell us about your starting point for Talon?
Not really. I think the only other thing I wanted to mention is for the reason why I picked fighter, kind of like the reason Miles picked his class and everything is I don't really have a whole lot of experience with like a fighter type, and I kind of just wanted to learn as we go. Especially with like a fighter from a dexterity point of view. But other than that, that's really all I can That's all I can think of. What else to mention?
Okay. Let's go over to Jackson, and I'm sorry, pronounce your character's name again for me.
Varek Jowl.
Varek. Okay. And how long has Varek lived in Greenest?
I think that Varek probably, I mean, depending on how everyone else's, characters are, I mean, he's been there probably, like, he's probably like freshly there. Maybe like been there a year at most. So he's like a very recent transplant to Greenest in my mind.
Yeah, and the town is small enough. I think if he's been there a year, everybody would still know him.
Right.
And what brought him to Greenest?
He was really just looking for a job, frankly. He's a wizard. He's very intelligent. He loves to read. A very, uh, traditional, like a wizard, like loves to read, loves to teach. Probably if there's a library, been, he's probably read every single book, if not almost all of them. They all know when he's coming in because they just see a giant green cloud walk through. Um, don't know how common half works are in Greenest or anything, um, but yeah.
Okay. And then what's your background?
Inquisitive. So again, that like wanting to learn, wanting to just know more um about everything.
All right. So and then has he made a job for himself, or is he just sort of living off of whatever money he brought with him, or has he established himself in any way in the town?
I mean, I think he probably, if there is like a school or anything like that, um, he's probably teaching there or is a librarian at the local library, whatever, bookstore, owner, whatever he can whatever he can do to kind of get money quick, because he did not have a lot uh coming into Greenest a year ago.
Okay. What are some of his strengths? We could always make him like a there's there is a like an elementary school there,
hmm
but we could always say that he maybe teaches maybe like he's a substitute teacher or something like that.
I mean, yeah, I mean he probably has little to no experience like teaching like toddler like at that age, like 5 to 12.
Mhm.
He's definitely very like
A
gross you're a ki-
substitute teacher.
like gross you're a kid, get away from me sort of thing. Not like
What's
that,
up?
not that it's not that he's like I hate kids, but he's like you're full of germs, get away from me.
Nothing against substitute teachers out there.
Nothing. Oh yeah, absolutely not.
I am one
Some
of
of my
those.
favorite teachers were substitutes. Thank you very
Absolutely
much.
not. Like I teach college kids, so like it's a different vibe,
Yes.
if that makes sense.
Oh, trust me, it makes sense.
Yes, and if you say you're adult, you're not. Sorry.
I mean, I used to teach from my youngest was 5, and my oldest was like, I think my oldest was 80, so was in their 90s, like 97 or something like that. So yeah, there's a huge difference.
It's never too late to learn something.
Nope. Um,
Knowledge is power.
any
Use it well.
More
uh any more information you'd like to give us, Jackson?
I think that's it for now. Get
Okay.
to know him a little bit more.
Yep. We'll get to know him a little bit later. Let's go over to Austin. Tell us about Kai, you said?
Yes, so her name is Kai Valtoris. She is part of a kind of lower middle class, high elven family. She never really struggled for her next meal. Her basic needs were always met. She wasn't necessarily pampered, even though she was the only child from her parents. Uh, she has lived in Greenest almost her entire life. moved when she was very little. She's now, again, 112, so she's been in Green Nest for quite a good while. 112 for Elf, for those who don't know, probably equal to maybe late 20s, early 30s for human. She never really had much of her own worldview. She kind of just lied down, watched the clouds roll by. Think Shikamaru from Naruto. She never really showed up in class. She never was outstanding. She always had decent grades, but she just never really applied herself, even though she was somewhat smart and clever. Other than that, she just kind of goes around, shows up a lot at the library to read, and that is about it for Kai.
So Kai and Varek probably cross paths a lot at the library.
I would definitely say she could see him quite often.
Okay. Okay. And what's your background?
She fancies herself a bit of a charlatan.
How does that affect her character at all?
It's mainly just how she interacts with people. She puts up a bit of a tough front. She usually is a bit reserved, but when she does finally interact with people, she'll be a little bit manipulative, even maybe pessimistic towards what people are telling her.
Okay. All right. Anything else you'd like to add to Kai?
Other than that, she just so she does worship Tamora, the goddess of good fortune. She never really felt like she had bad luck nor good luck, so she felt that worshiping a goddess who is supposed to bring good luck would maybe bring herself a little.
So we could probably find her either at the library or probably at the temple at the keep.
Yeah, the temple, the keep, and she does show up at the pub a little bit every once and now and then.
Okay. And again, am I saying that right?
Vicken,
Vicken.
like the aircraft actually.
Okay. Tell us about Vicken. How long has he lived there?
Vicken has been in Green Nest for about 4 years now. Came to rest there after a particularly nasty run through the Forest of Teeth to the north.
Okay. So did he run there almost like going into hiding a bit?
No, he grew up in Baldur's Gate until he was probably about 14 or 15 and got Wanderlust, which comes into his background for the guide. He pretty early on started sneaking out of the city walls and traveling into the forest near Baldur's Gate whenever he could. As such, he picked up some skills like tracking and hunting. And that eventually brought him down to the Forest of Teeth after somebody contacted him about a small group of goblins causing trouble for another nearby town.
Gotcha. And I'm sorry, what did you say your background was?
Guide, as he's taken to more or less taken to the forest rather than the cities that he grew up in.
All right. And then anything else you'd like to what's he kind of doing in Greenest? Has he made in the past 4 years, has he made how's he making his living in Greenest, I should say?
More or less picking up odd jobs as wilderness guide and hunter, more or less staying on the edge of town and kind of keeping to himself. He doesn't spend a ton of time around other people, but he does very much so like the local tavern, which is where most of the rest of the party probably knows him from.
So we know Kai would also go to the tavern. Who else's character probably frequents the tavern?
Rona would actually only be in the tavern if he got pulled there. Taverns scare him. A lot of crowds scare him.
I
That's
think
something we have in
that
common.
I think that Varek wouldn't be like a frequent flyer, but he would show up on occasion. Um,
What about
but not.
Talon? What about Talon, John?
Oh, sorry. Um,
Would he frequent the
what question?
tavern?
Yes, he would.
Okay. So so Vronin is probably not going to be found in the tavern.
If he's there, somebody convinced him to go there, or he's got like a mission he's on.
Right. We're going to talk a bit about some personality traits, bonds, ideals, and flaws. So for everybody out there, I tell my players that they can, if they want to roll for that to help create their character backgrounds and who their character is, then they can feel free to roll for it. But I also let them just write in their personality traits, bonds, ideals, and flaws. Um, Check with your DM, see what they're comfortable with. I want my characters to be able to play people that they actually enjoy playing. And if they roll something that they don't like or that they don't think their character would actually do, I don't want them to be stuck with that. So let's go ahead. We're going to go in reverse order this time. David, tell us, let's get into personality traits, bonds, ideals, and flaws. Tell us what you got.
All right. For personality traits, I more or less wrote in most of these, though a lot of them are based off of the older Outlander traits. As I went through that, it's kind of a baseline idea.
Mhm.
I try to be amicable to everyone deserves to speak. And then the second one is, I like the quiet and solitude of the woods. Cities make me feel boxed in. Viken's not big on crowds, but he is generally polite and tries to give everybody a chance. For ideals, considering he again doesn't much like the city life, he's very independent. Feels that independence and freedom are the calling of all creatures and peoples. Everybody, everybody deserves to follow their own path. Blindly following other people is a form of tyranny, he feels. Bonds, his bonds tie in a little bit to his backstory and how he ended up in Green Nest. Originally not hugely into preserving nature and things like that. As a ranger, he was very much a hunter originally, though with his current position and way of thinking for the last couple of years, he is much taken up a much more proactive role in protecting the land as well as the people around him. And lastly, for his flaws, as I said earlier, he very much tends to get lost in his cups. Very revelrous whenever he's drunk, and spends probably a little bit too much gold in the taverns and a bit too much time.
And then does he happen to have any like odd quirks or habits that we might see throughout the game?
Coming from a elvish family, he does tend to speak in a heavy accent, which will be more or less a Germanic accent on my end. He also always carries two sets of boots, one of which being a really finely made set of doeskin boots that were a gift from his parents, that he tries his very best to keep from getting dirty.
Ooh, so if we see them get dirty, how would he react? Do you know?
Depending on the situation, if it's not life or death, he is going to be trying to clean those things off as quickly as possible before any stains set in.
Gotcha. All right, let's go on to Kai. What are your personality traits?
So, Kai's personality traits is adaptive, decisive, logical, reserved, and tenacious. Um, she, how to put it? She usually just goes very straightforward at things in her way of thinking. She does not really think outside of the box that much. Very logical approaches, and when she does put her mind on something, she is uh, basically unmovable. With that's the tenacious bit and decisive. Um, she's very reserved, as I said before. Frequents the library quite a lot.
Okay, and ideals?
Um, Her ideals would be accountability. People need to be very straightforward and put themselves on top of their actions. If their actions don't match to what they think is right, then, or maybe what she thinks is right, then not really fit to be a person. Also, future generations, she believes that everyone needs to trust in younger generations and leave the world a better place than they found it. Uh, Leisure and self respect are her final two ideals. Um, you cannot spend your entire life working towards an end without rest. You need some form of relaxation or R&R between all of your tasks. And self-respect, if you go against your ideals and accountability of what you think, you're nothing more than the bottom of gum, the gum on the bottom of her.
Error. Okay. And her bonds.
Um, she's very with the leisure aspect of her ideals actually ties into her bonds. She will give everything to ensure that everyone has more time to take it easy, uh, more time to rest, leaving the world better than you found
Okay, and some of her flaws.
it. She's quite impatient. She doesn't like waiting. Even being an elf, an hour just feels like an eternity to her. She is kind of irritable easily, uh, gets frustrated very quickly when it comes to puzzles or that, even with her logical thinking. If she can't approach a topic and figure it out right away, she is bound to get a bit frustrated. Um, Manipulative, she knows how to get what she wants. She is very good at getting what she wants and also is pessimistic. She thinks that people need to leave the world a better place, but she thinks that she's one of the very few who actually can stick to something like that.
Gotcha. And some habits, hobbies, or quirks that we might see from her.
Um, just a lot of book reading for the most part. Again, she really keeps to herself. She doesn't interact with a whole lot. And then also, same as when I was saying earlier, describing her, she often will just kind of lay down, look at the clouds on a like a nice green hill or whatnot.
All right, we're gonna go for Varek.
Hmm.
Um, yes.
Okay. All right. So we're doing what personality traits that deals bonds flaws?
Yes.
Cool. So a lot, I mean, the personality traits ideals, a lot of them are like truly ingrained into his backstory. So I don't want to like touch on them too like in detail.
Hmm.
But some more, I guess, general ones for Varric. For personality traits, he is this can also probably be a flaw, but I also kind of put in a personality trait. He's kind of jumpy. Um, so he always like is not necessarily looking over his shoulder, but he like once he gets like deep in a book, he that's like where he kind of finds his solace, and that's where he can tend to relax. So if you come up behind him or something, he has a dagger always on his side, um, and it can get he's there's been a few run-ins I think in the past where uh it's gotten not so it's not been not so cute, if you will, um interactions with Varek and whoever is trying to scare him. Um Again, the personality traits, it all comes back to books. He's probably read every single book in the library or the bookstore, local bookstore, um, in Greenest. Um, so that's kind of where I'll stay with personality traits
Mhm.
um, for now.
Mhm.
Ideals, the biggest thing is freedom, whether that's personal freedom, like freedom from like persecution, freedom from just general freedom, like the feeling of not having to care about something. Um, that's really big for him. Another thing is knowledge. Again, the good old mantra, knowledge is power, wanting to learn as much as he can. Um, and then I think, and then probably I'll mention like the truth, and wanting the truth to be uncovered and the truth to be told, um, and trying to pursue that in any way necessary.
Okay.
In terms of bonds, I think the truly the biggest bond he has is with himself, and with his family. Um, I mean, he's only been in agreement for about a year. That doesn't mean he doesn't know and get along and have other bonds with people, but I think really it's him and his family um, are the two um, that really I think Varric is most focused on. And again, I'm not going into a lot of detail because there's a lot of my backstory stuff
Yeah.
that is kind of floating around. Um, so I'll leave that at pretty much. So for bonds, like my family and himself um, are his two big bonds.
And then flaws.
For flaws, again, jumpy. He can be kind of jumpy. He can also be kind of I don't know how you can be jumpy but also unaware at the same time, but that's him. I guess that unawareness comes in where when he's like in a book or he's in thought about or talking to someone about something he loves to learn about. Um, I relate to this me Jackson personally because like I'm a professor and I teach stats and I work in statistics all the time and I love talking about it. And as soon as I start talking about it, you're not going to get me to stop talking about it until you tell me to stop talking about it. Um, so I kind of threw my little self in there a little bit. And he he's it again, knowledge is power. It kind of seeps into a flaw a little bit because he m may know too much. And he has a hard time potentially keeping it all together. Um, So knowledge is power, but it might not be all good knowledge.
Not all what it's cracked up to be sometimes.
Yeah.
The
Uh,
full quote is, knowledge is power. Use it well.
Oh, I've been doing it wrong this whole time.
Knowledge means nothing without the wisdom to
Ah,
apply
ding.
it.
okay, and then hobbies and quirks we may see from him. Besides, I mean, we got the book. We got the book. Do we see
Yeah.
anything
I
else?
mean, in terms of like other like hobbies or quirks or anything, I mean, that's probably the biggest thing is just likes to gab on things that he knows a lot about and likes talking about, and then also just getting lost in the book, or lost in reading.
Gotcha. Okay, let's go over to Talon.
Yes.
What are your personality traits, good sir?
So kind of going back into the military thing, he's haunted by like memories of wars or battles. He can't get like the images of violence out of his head, and sometimes they plague him. And then he's always polite and respectful towards others as well. Like kind of going through like that good guy persona type of thing that I mentioned.
Mhm. And ideals?
The greater good. Basically, he would lay down his life in defense of others and protect for others from evil.
Okay. And bonds.
The bond that he would have would be like towards like his group or personal friends, because someone saved his life on the battlefield, and he would never like leave a friend behind. So, like his friends, he would do anything for.
And then flaws.
He made a mistake in battle that cost many lives, and he would do anything to keep that one mistake secret from anyone.
What about hobbies, quirks, habits that we see?
He'd always have like a toothpick kind of like thing. Like the best way I can describe it, and I don't know if anyone here is going to get it, and honestly, it's totally worth it. Uh, is if you ever watched like the old '90s WWF with Razor Ramon, how he had the toothpick in the mouth kind of thing. Like that would be, he would always have that be like a little quirk he would have, and then he probably would be maybe like taking his unloaded pistol and spinning the chamber.
Oh Lord. Okay.
You're welcome.
All right. Veronin, talk to us about your personality traits.
Yeah. Pardon me. Personality traits. So I often let the dice speak to me and then edit as necessary. I got pretty good ones. I had to change one of them, but I'm well known for my work and I want to make sure everyone appreciates it, going back to him being like a guild associate and being very much invested into his work. And he's always taken aback when people haven't heard of him. He has a number of exploits he's considered important, but are all very functional yet very like forgettable. But he's always like, "I built this. Why don't you know who I am?" And it gets to him sometimes. He also likes to talk about his profession at length. So if you get him started on anything that he's interested in, kind of like what was it, Varek, he'll just talk his head off, and you'll have to literally tell him to shut up. For ideals, I got aspiration. I work hard to be the best there is at my craft. So I just filled that into him being sort of obsessed with his work and having him being kind of tied to it as part of his whole entire being. I originally got greed, only in it for the money, but I feel like with the way his character was developing, I moved into community. And so it is the duty of all people to strengthen the bonds and security communities. He's very invested in trying to make a name for himself and his family and for his community and trying to improve it and live out his life with them. So yeah. For bonds, I created a great work for someone and then found them unworthy to receive it. I'm still looking for someone worthy. I'm gonna keep that one a secret. He's got a great big invention that he doesn't want to tell anybody about. He's very proud of it, but one day he'll find someone who's worthy of it. And then for flaws, I'm never satisfied with what I have. I always want more. So I was playing that into his character, and that plays into some of his little quirks.
I will try
Um,
very hard not to bust out into Hamilton when you say that anytime.
more.
No, the I'll never be satisfied.
It was, oh, geez. Okay. No. So, he is. I find one of his one of his quirks I decided on was that before he starts anything, he has to have everything in its place. So even if it's a new workspace and he's capable of working with a new workspace if constraints, force him to, but he has to make sure it's set up in a way that his mind can process, or else he'll spark out and lose it, and he'll get
He's a
very
bit
frustrated.
OCD, is what I'm hearing.
I'm trying not to make it OCD because I don't know if I have OCD or I don't think I do, and I don't want to try to make a stereotype of it, but I feel like it's like he's the kind of person where yes, he will build a bomb for you in this shelter, but if you move the pencil he's been using for the past 6 hours from the spot he keeps putting it back to, he might stab you with it.
Okay. So I want to get a little into, um, and this is where people may get, I understand where if you don't want to like give legit names or anything, or anything like that, want to be a little bit mysterious about it, it's okay. But I want to get into um people that are important to your character, who they are, and if they are still living. Are they very much still prominent in your life? Do you see them every day? Stuff like that. Starting with Miles.
You said at least one, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I picture his mother, who's probably taken her maiden name again. I haven't really figured that one out yet. Would still be somebody that he constantly has to refer to, and she's either I reference overbearing, but either like constantly asking him for things, and he has to like explain things or help her out, or she's constantly like getting on him about his line of business and what he's doing with his life, and constantly criticizing him. My main person he knows and person he would probably be most attached and kind of referencing would be his master, the one he's apprenticed under. That's Master Finkspanner. He is an older gnome, and if anybody knows Mob Psycho 100, I picture him like Mob's boss. I think it's Ren, but not he's like almost like a total fake. Like he doesn't really he's almost like a squib. Like he has like no real magical ability, and he constantly pawns and uses Vronin unwittingly to advance his own goals, but they always curiously align with what's kind of best for the community. And so nobody's really caught on to the fact that he's a fraud, and he has like a base knowledge of what he's teaching Vronin, but Vronin is adept enough and kind of socially inept enough that he doesn't realize that he's been taken advantage of, and it kind of works out in its favor most of the time, but it also leads him to situations where he's stuck in something odd and he has to do something weird, or he's in an adventure.
And his mother and Master Finkspanner?
Finkspanner.
Finkspanner. Do they both live in Greenest? Does he see them
Yes,
daily?
Finkspanner runs the guild, and stand by. You got company.
Oh, man.
It's half blind and on the move.
Sorry, are they both alive? They're both alive and still living in Greenest?
Both alive and well. His mother doesn't. He probably lives in like a small flat, like close to the guild or in the guild itself if they've got housing. Finkspanner is likely mooching off the guild reserves and living a life of some luxury. But his mom probably lives farther out into more residential areas, kind of quietly. But yeah, alive and well.
Okay. All right, Talon.
That's not come back to haunt me, I'm sure.
So for me, I can only come up with one,
That's fine.
and that would be Talon's actual brother, Axel Harbinger.
Ooh.
They were both in the service together, and his fate is kind of a mystery. To Talon, he's dead. There's nothing to confirm that in his mind other than the fact that he just knows. But he carries Axel's sword with him as a memento to him to like honor his memory in his own way. But he at the same time he would never use the sword as well. Let's see. Axel would be basically exactly like Talon, but instead of a red dragon, he'd be an orange dragon. Yeah, that's all I got here.
That's fine. How long has it been since he's seen Axel?
It's been many years. Maybe if you want me to give you like a good round number, I'd say 15.
15, okay.
I'd say 15 to 20, like somewhere in that area. Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's go on over to uh Varek. Varek?
Varek.
Varek? I'm gonna probably ask you that a couple more times until it sinks deep into my brain. But yeah, Varek.
Yeah. I think that the only connection that Varek, and I even wouldn't really call it a connection, it's probably his mom. Um, he hasn't seen his mom in a year, and that's the year he's been in Greenest. Um, but
Did he have
yeah,
a good
I don't want.
relationship? Did he have a good relationship with his mom?
At first, yes. And then towards the end, as he got older, absolutely not. But it was more one-sided. It was more Varric versus his mom.
Gotcha. Right. And does he know if she's still living or not?
He assumes she is still living. I don't know with any certainty. His guess, he's almost certain she is.
Okay. Okay. And Kai.
So her being very reserved as a personality trait, she doesn't really have any very close friends. The only people she really has or knows would be her mother, her father. She's not really close with either of them. And then probably the person she would be closest to would actually be the librarian she sees nearly every day.
Actually, can you repeat that? My thing cut out for a second.
Oh, it's good. She's not, yeah, she is not incredibly close with her mother or father at all. But she is pretty close to the librarian, who she sees nearly every day.
Okay.
Yeah.
And her family, are they still living in Greenus?
Yeah, they're both still living.
So she probably sees them. She just doesn't have like a solid relationship with them just because of the size of the town.
Yeah, like she'll acknowledge them, but other than that, it's not really a whole lot going on there.
But the librarian is.
Yeah,
she's,
the
she's
librarian is.
friendly with the librarian.
Yeah, it's one of the only people she ever really chats with at all, and even that's pretty sparse.
All right. And Viking.
All right. People that they're close to. Uh, as I mentioned earlier, Vikings was born to elvish parents, and even though, as a tiefling, having some infernal heritage somewhere in there that caused him to come out not quite right, he's actually relatively close to his family. Particularly his older brother Jonas, who still lives further north. He moved up to Waterdeep at some point, though they do stay in contact relatively well through notes or letters.
Okay.
And are we doing like, do we need to reveal people that are tied into like organizations?
No, we don't
No, okay.
need to go into that.
Okay.
All right. So I want to get into some of our house rules and um, any lines that we wouldn't want crossed or anything. So these are conversations that you're going to want to have with your DM and with people at your table because if you have a fear or if you have a trigger, you want to make sure that you're not being triggered during the game because that can be not so much fun for playing. We have here at the Roost, we have a couple house rules that we like to get it that we like to use. They are homebrew rules, so they are not part of the actual uh, D&D 5.5e rule set, and we'll go through and describe them for you. Our first one is we're calling it Roll for Recap. And basically, that is where at the beginning of the game, now this is not going to be at every game, it's going to be like a little pop quiz. You never know when I'm going to tell you that it's time to roll for recap. And what the players will do is they will roll. If I tell them that it's time to roll for recap, they will roll a d20, and whoever gets the lowest roll has to recap the last session as their character. So you have to do it in character. I will be able to help you guys through it, or I'll give you the official previously on after that, but that is a fun little way to keep the characters on their toes. Next is going to be uh, spell slots. So maybe we're in a dungeon and you guys haven't been able to take a long rest or anything, and you are now completely out of spell slots. I will let you will be able to cast level 1 spells if you're out of spell slots, but for every time that you do this, you will gain 1 level of exhaustion until you are able to get those back. Finley, please stop touching the mic. I'm going to pause real quick, guys. Okay. So then we also here do something a little bit different for death saves. Um, Basically, I do not, if you guys are rolling physical dice, you are going to message me privately what your result was. If you're rolling dice on D&D Beyond, make sure that you're not rolling it to the entire party. You're only rolling it to the DM because I don't want the group to find out if you pass or failed. We're going to do so 1 through 10 is a fail, and 11 through 20 is a success. Best out of 5. 2 fails in a row is an automatic death, and 2 successful in a row is 1 HP. I allow my players to roll with advantage if they can tell me a reason for living. Tell me why your character is hanging on for dear life, which is also why I kind of like to. I don't want anybody else to see the roll, just so I can kind of narrate on if you're actually dying or if you're hanging on. If you cannot think of a reason for living, you have to roll with disadvantage. This is a homebrew rule that we take from Dork Tales. They are pretty awesome. You can find them over on YouTube and Spotify. Any questions on that? Okay.
No, we're good, I think.
Cool. We are also going to be using the lingering injuries chart that can be found in DM Handbook. So basically, how they occur: if your character takes a critical hit, if your character reaches 5 HP, or if you fail a death save by 5 or more, but don't end up dying. And what they are is if your character is dealt a lingering injury, you will roll. You're going to roll to find out, 1, what the wound is, how or if it can be cured, and how it's going to affect your player. So if you roll something, like if you're dealt a critical hit and your enemy is dealing piercing damage, you will roll on a piercing damage chart, which I have. And maybe you roll a 1 and they pop your eye out. Well, now you have disadvantage on perception checks, and the only way that this can be cured is by magic that men's limbs or a magical eye is found. So that will be in effect. Any questions on that?
Ouch.
Surely the mending cantrip can fix my eye, right?
Only if it's not a regular eye.
It's not a regular eye.
Ah, dang
it. Inspiration. How you're going to gain inspiration is every time you level up, you gain inspiration.
Hooray.
Just making that a thing. So starting out level 1, nobody has inspiration. So once you get to level 2, you guys will be able to gain your inspiration.
Are there any other ways for us to obtain inspiration?
No funny joke.
I am toying with the idea of possibly finding other ways to gain inspiration. We will see as I continue to brainstorm.
Okay.
We do have some rules for our ranger in the group, for Hunter's Mark, which you'll see get put into effect. But basically, how I'm letting our rangers play is that the Hunter's Mark will continue to increase the damage according to level. So each time that he gains levels, his Hunter Mark damage will increase. Along with, as he gets to the different levels, you will see that he will be able to pick what type of damage he deals. So as we are going through, if you are new to playing D&D and you see that and you think, oh, Hunter's really cool, I'm going to play that, just know if you're playing for that reason, that is our rule. Check with your DM and see if they allow that. Critical hits. If you guys roll a crit on an enemy, one damage dice will automatically be maxed. So for those who don't know, rolling a crit means you have rolled a nat 20 against your against your enemy. And instead of dealing just one damage, you get to roll double damage. So, example, if something says that it deals 1d8 damage, it is now 1d8 plus 8. Or if it's 1d6 plus 4, it's now 1d6 plus 4 plus 6. So, basically allowing you guys to deal more damage, which will allow me to deal you harder monsters. Because
Well then.
Any questions on that?
I'm okay with that. That sounds interesting.
Yeah, I think it's called like the true critical option. If you like in the character sheet, there's like an option to like set that as like if you roll this on your character sheet, then it automatically does that for you.
I think so. For viewers, we use D&D Beyond. So, Jackson, thank you for volunteering to look that up to see if there is a way to set that
Eh,
up.
eh, eh,
Oh,
eh,
you need to have a extension
eh.
for Chrome, I think, but
Oh, geez. Nobody's getting your extension. I mean, you could try it.
I'll look into it.
For those listening, watching, we use D&D Beyond. We use so D&D Beyond is for our character sheets and for our virtual tabletop. And then we are using Zoom to record. Maps come from the module, which is a Wizards of the Coast module, Tyranny of Dragons, that you can purchase on D&D Beyond. And or we use Incarnate if I am creating a map from scratch. Also, music can be found on Monument Studios. Check them out. It is a group of just two guys creating the music, and it is never AI. And also tabletop audio. Again, not AI music. I believe he's based out of Canada, but don't quote me on that. But it is a guy that does the music for tabletop audio. Also, Canva music we use as well. So, just if you have any questions about that, you can drop it in the comments below. Yeah, so we have talked off camera about any boundaries that we don't want crossed. So you will never see in a Roost game, you will never see prejudice against religion, politics, race, LGBTQ. We do not endorse any sort of hate, abuse, of there's no animal abuse, there's no real, like we might mention people abuse. There's no sexual abuse. You'll never see that in one of our games. Mental abuse is not off the table. I like to sort of abuse these characters mentally as much as possible.
No idea.
Oh, dang it.
And I always assume that I am the most squeamish at the table. So unless they tell me about a particular fear or a line that they don't want to cross, I don't. I've been getting better with how much gore I put into things and how much gore I describe. I'm getting better, and I'm also getting better with horror elements. But I still always assume that I am the most squeamish at the table, and I'm always 100% Disney. I mean, I'm drinking out of a Lilo and Stitch cup right now, so we won't be. You won't see any of that from us. If there is any sexual scenes, like a seducing of a hag, it will be a closed door scene. But yeah. This is the point where I like to talk about my expectations for the players and also hear about the player expectations for me as their DM. So I like my players to be mindful of each other when they're talking. Since we are doing this online, it does get a little hard sometimes, but make sure that we're not talking over people. We're not trying to tell other people how to run their characters. And we're not attacking our teammates. Like, I don't expect to see any of that. We also want to be mindful that the DM does have the final say in rulings. And I expect my characters to know their characters. Like, we're all learning as we go, but make sure you give your character sheet a glance once or twice before game. Um, but other than that, like, I'm pretty laid back with, if I tell you to roll persuasion and you think your character is doing this in more of an intimidating fashion, then ask me, hey, can I roll for intimidation? I'm more than likely going to say yeah. But yeah, what expectations or what are you hoping to get out of this game as players? Do you prefer to see more, like more on a combat side, more on a explorative side? What are your expectations for the game? Start with Miles.
Um, I don't. My characters. I'm building my characters so that he can kind of do something in either scenario. So I'm interested in just sort of developing him and experiencing the story, as it were. So, I mean, so long as I get chances to interact and all the stuff we worked up gets utilized, I'm kind of open for anything.
Okay. John?
Especially since I'm playing with like a class I have no really good knowledge in, just kind of learn, um, and kind of like take to what I can with my character and just learn as I kind of go with this as well. And also, I think you laid out your expectations for not for us. You've laid out expectations for everything. Just to have fun at the end of the day,
Yeah.
like really all that matters to me is that we all come in and we have a great time.
And John, this is a great campaign for you to try out a class that you're not used to playing, since we are taking this a bit slower and breaking it down. So we'll be able to break it down as we go to help you better understand the fighter class.
Yeah, yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
All right. Jackson?
Yeah, kind of the same as Miles. Really I like a mix of both, like if we're talking about like combat and like storytelling. Um, my biggest thing is I've been in campaigns where my backstory, I spend time writing it and it kind of just gets thrown aside.
Mhm.
So making sure that I know there's a lot of us that our stories get told the way that, we hope or in some way, uh, as we really, because we spend so much time writing, maybe some more than others. I'm not sure what everyone else has done, um, in terms of backstory because everyone has their own way of telling their character story. Um, I think just making sure like those things are taken into consideration with like on your side, but also making sure that I'm taking it into consideration of the decisions I'm making as well.
Gotcha. All right. Austin.
So, as far as combat versus role playing, I usually enjoy a 50-50 split, maybe 60-40 leaning towards the role playing side, or yeah, the role playing side of things. Um, I am somewhat of a D&D veteran. I know my way around the table for the most part. I've DM'd uh, a bit as well in the past. I have never actually played a cleric, so this is going to be my first cleric deep dive. Hopefully, if Kai does not die, but we'll get to that when we get to that.
Yeah.
Other than that, yeah, I'm pretty easy to please when it comes to a lot of stuff. Just very generic D&D, high fantasy, cool adventure, fun time with friends, lots of jokes.
Gotcha. All right, and then David.
I'm not too particular on what is going on. I agree with some of the others. I like the fact that I feel like you'll do well bringing up our backstories and tying them into the story you're trying to tell. I do generally, as a DM, like a little more combat, and I think as a player, I would like to see a bit of combat. But otherwise, I'm pretty easy to please with it. I'm just happy to be playing as a forever DM.
I feel you on that one. All right. All right, guys. Well, that is all I have for you today. So for viewers, games are going to be streamed bi-weekly on Fridays. I try to get them out by 5 p.m., but between kids and life, sometimes they come out more around 8 p.m., but I try to get them out bi-weekly on Friday at 5 p.m. And then I'll also have a few videos of DM breakdowns on how to prep chapters or how to prep a encounter. Again, those are DM only, so no players will be in the video with the for those. And then we'll do some, just like we did how to build a character. I might have one-on-one with the characters on like how to multi-class, or how to perform in battle, in combat, and we can deep dive into that. But for now, we hope you enjoyed our session 0, episode 0, and we look forward to seeing you and having you join us on this adventure through Faerun. So, from all of us here at the Roost, good night, everyone.
Later, nerds.